Hey everybody, so in this video I want to talk about total daily energy expenditure. First, I would like to say that if you've watched any videos of mine, you know that I'm a huge proponent of micronutrient content. So I don't want to ignore any of that in this video. It's extremely important that we get enough vitamins and minerals through whole foods uh, to help with our metabolic processes and just make everything run efficiently. So that's definitely not to be ignored. That should actually be the number one thing that we are thinking about and that we are acting upon. But when we talk about total daily energy expenditure, that is, and this isn't exactly correct, but it'll be easier to understand. Let's just talk about it in terms of calories. So, how many calories you are expending throughout your day is total daily energy expenditure. Now, there are a whole bunch of websites that you can get in and you can put in your age and your weight, and if you're male or female, and what your activity level is, and it will kick out how many calories a day that you burn. What is your total daily energy expenditure? Some are correct, some are probably not so correct, and really, when it comes down to it, it probably doesn't really matter um, because each day is going to be a little bit different. But I do want to show you guys how this is broken down, and I think it's kind of interesting. So right here where it says BMR, that's your basal metabolic rate. 70% of the amount of calories that we expend during the day come from a basal metabolic rate, meaning I'm laying down, doing absolutely nothing, I'm burning 70% of my calories. Now, it obviously doesn't mean you can just lay around all day and everything is good. But what it does mean is that our body takes a lot of energy just to sustain itself. 70% of what we burn in the day comes from just our body sustaining itself. Then there's about 15% that comes from this. It says NEAT, and that's non exercise and activity thermogenesis. So that's moving around. That's just getting up out of bed, going to the kitchen to get some water, going to the bathroom, making your breakfast, going out to the car, going to the. Yeah, that's non exercise activity thermogenesis. 15%. So that's cool. That's interesting. Then there's about 10% that comes from the thermogenic effect of food, meaning when we eat, although we are consuming calories, it does increase our body temperature and takes energy to break food down. So, depending on the macronutrient content of the food, we can increase or decrease our thermogenic effect of food. So, 10% of the calories that we're expending during the day actually comes from eating our food. Then, where it says eat, that is exercise and activity thermogenesis. This is where we would actually go and exercise, and it's a purposeful movement to try to expend calories. Now, let's just take some common sense here and say, well, I want to increase the amount of calories that I burn during the day, so I'm going to take my workout from an hour to an hour and a half. So you'd think, well, that's an extra 30 minutes of expending calories, so it's all good. But really, in the grand scheme of things, you're not really increasing by very much how many calories you're actually burning during the day. The best thing that we can do is actually just increase how much time we are moving in the non-exercise and activity thermogenesis. Actually parking your car further away from the grocery store, talking with your boss and making it so that you can get a stand-up desk, switching jobs to where you can get up and move around. That non-exercise and activity thermogenesis is really, I want to say it's where the game changer comes in. You've got people like Stan Efferding, super smart guy, you should look him up. He talks about the importance of a 10-minute walk after every meal that we have. That is huge in the grand scheme of things because that 10-minute walk post eating, did I say exercise? I meant eating. Post eating is going to help us to break down that food a little bit better, kickstart our metabolic processes, and increase that non-exercise activity thermogenesis. We're actually creating heat and expending energy. It's huge. So there are certain things that we can do to increase our basal metabolic rate, but interestingly, those come from the three things that are above. If we can maximize the amount of time that we're just moving in general, if we can increase the amount of protein that we're eating and try to get anywhere from zero point 0.8 to 1.0 grams of protein per pound that we weigh, that's definitely going to increase the thermogenic effect of food. And then, depending on the type of exercise that you have, hopefully it's a strength-based program where we're also increasing aerobic capacity. Those three things are going to help increase that basal metabolic rate. So, pretty interesting stuff. Kind of fun if you want to geek out on the science a little bit. And then here's a graph up here that I just found on the internet. So I don't know exactly how accurate it is, but it does explain a little bit. And even if it's not completely accurate, it at least allows us to see, hey, if I weigh 160 pounds and I want to increase my non-exercise activity thermogenesis and I go bowling for an hour, that's 219 calories that have been expended just by bowling. Now, what I like to do, I personally like activities that not only are they non-exercise activity thermogenesis, but they help me maintain or even gain a new skill set. So I love dirt biking, trying to get better at riding dirt bikes. If I go swimming, then not only am I increasing the volume that or the energy that I'm expending during the day, but I would like to work on my swimming technique and get even better at that. Well, any practice in swimming is going to get me better. Just walking at 2 miles an hour, you're expending over 200 calories an hour. So just awesome stuff. You can kind of geek out on it, like I said, but more than anything, if you guys want to see progress, not only in your waistline, but also in your blood markers and your blood tests that your doctor runs, really focus on this non-exercise and activity thermogenesis. It will be a game changer. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any thoughts, write them in the comments. Life is good, and we will talk to you all soon.